Hey, Chris here from The Chris Stefanik Show, where we talk about how to live out God's plan for you each and every day in your everyday life in a way that makes you more alive and more joyful. Check it out. All right, second, letting your love overcome your fear. And I know you did this in battle. You'd be thinking of people.
Correct.
Tell me about that experience.
Well, when you're facing a situation where you know your life is on the line, or could be, that's when in your heart and your mind you get pretty deep on like, okay, I'm getting ready to risk my life. Like, why am I doing this again? And that's where who you love and why you love them needs to be right on the forefront of your mind. You need to live with that. Because if you can't recall that right in the moment of fear, you're going to be a little bit behind the power curve. That's why training that and getting the rep in is so important. And for me, even at an early age, like I had a nephew. I was blessed to have a nephew really young. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was like, cool, this is cool. I'm an uncle. But I knew that that life cycle was very important in the sense of I have a responsibility to this younger baby that now is born. And I saw the innocence. You know, my sister had a baby boy, and my whole life started to transform around that idea of like, I've got to go and be that shield to make sure that he gets a better life. I don't want that evil that's out in the world that exists, and that's very, very real, by the way, to come home and have him have to worry about that. And that's true to today. So it's having that on my mind when I was going to kick down that door to be like, hey, at the end of the day, I'm doing this for him. And if I have to sacrifice everything that I am for that, so be it.
Worth it.
It's worth it.
You know, it's easier to, in some ways, have that be front and center in your frontal lobe if it's life and death, right? It's the daily grind where you lose that. And this is, again, why
Complacency.
Yeah, complacency. It's, and the angels and saints are looking at us saying, no, don't you know it's life and death?
Yeah,
like,
it always is.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the spiritual battlefield we find ourselves in.
That's the weight of recognizing, even being at the command and where I was and going over on these operations, is that the daily grind or the complacency is actually another lie. It's a lie. Every moment is so precious and so purposeful. Our culture will totally blind us into thinking that that's actually not the case. It's insignificant. That's what the culture will teach you, but it's not true. And so we have to understand that living that out on a daily basis is so important, and not to get caught up in it. Because if we can live with that, I recognized every piece of gear, every tactic was going to matter. Every detail mattered for us to do our job. Wow. Everything. And if you slack off on one thing, it would come to fruition. That's our lives. It's no different.
Life of virtue.
You just are hanging around with a bunch of people that are that intense about it.
Yeah.
And the more you lean into that, I can promise you, the more relaxed you actually become. It sounds overwhelming to think, well, wait a minute, I'm going to live this life where I'm intense in every moment. And it's like, to a certain extent, yes. But there's a certain calm that builds from that. It's like that adversity, because you recognize you're appreciating it, and you don't wake up 2 years from now being like, dang it, what did I do? I did nothing. I didn't lean into that.
Wow.
I'd rather live with the idea of knowing that I pushed into it than sat back and did nothing.
Yeah, you know, it helps to own your intentions, right? If you're getting up for work, if you're suffering, when you're coming home from work, about to walk in the door, to just take a deep breath for just a second. Like,
take two. That's another trigger, by the way.
Right?
I had to say this because it's important. A lot of people probably struggle with this.
Yeah.
That's phase 2 for me. No matter what day I had, there's a certain street sign that as soon as I go to that street sign, everything goes away, completely locked on, sunglasses come off, deep diaphragmatic breaths start happening. And I'm like, I am emptying myself to be completely present with my family right in this very moment. That's my trigger. Happens every single time. I know the exact feeling, right? Just talking about it.
Brother.
But that's the type of thing that I'm talking about triggers, to go in to make sure that you can put that fear away and be open to them.
Yeah.
You know?
Way to be intentional about the right things, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, we miss the whole point of life. And guys, like, I gave you these kids to love. Be intentional about loving them when you walk in the door. Did you like that clip? Be sure to click subscribe so you never miss out on our great content that's going to help you live life to the full.